I want to get into Gavin Newsom. I'm going to approach this from a completely different angle. I'm going to approach it from a completely different angle. Y'all ready? Well, first, we got to give y'all an update on what's going on in these streets. Gavin Newsom is in California fighting wildfires, and he recently did an interview, but I want to bring y'all up to date on what's going on with the wildfires. Take a look.
And that is good to see, but this map shows where all the fires are burning across Los Angeles. The two big ones, they are still the Palisades fire and the Eaton fire. Firefighters are battling the flames from the air as they try to contain as much as possible before the wind kicks up again.
Yeah, there is concern now about the return of the Santa Ana winds as the search for the missing intensifies and the death toll has risen to 24 people. The head of a major private power company will join us live. His company is facing questions about its electrical equipment, possibly sparking some of the fires. We have team coverage all over the fire zones. Ginger is standing by with a red flag warning from the National Weather Service that is expected to last until Wednesday. And we start with Chief National Correspondent Matt Gutman in Pacific Palisades. Good morning, Matt.
Hey, good morning, George. More than 8 million people in L.A. County are facing this critical fire risk today. The National Weather Service giving it that rare designation, a particularly dangerous situation, same as it was last week. And, you know, the firefighters who've been on the line here for a week are already exhausted, like the folks here at Fire Station 69 getting a little bit of shut-eye right now because they have been getting massive amounts of reinforcements in terms of personnel and equipment.
This morning, exhausted fire crews trying to snuff out remaining hot spots as officials are bracing for those Santa Ana wind gusts today, expected to reach 70 miles an hour.
That's crazy.
Over the weekend, the Palisades fire again flaring up, this time near Mandeville Canyon, the fire encroaching on Brentwood and Encino, triggering an unprecedented air assault. The largest blaze, the Palisades fire, scorching nearly 24,000 acres with only 13% containment. And that fire spinning up a firenado, and reinforcements pouring in for both Mexico and Canada, deploying fire crews and equipment, specifically those large air tankers, but FEMA saying there are limits to that air support.
We're also talking about a very small space from the air, and we got to make sure that those aircraft are safe. They can only put so much in the air at that one time.
This as authorities in LA County are now investigating the possible causes of the fire.
Hey babe, I need you to come out here right now. We have a very big problem. What?
Doorbell camera and cell phone video from Jeffrey and Cheryl Koo showing the frantic moments when they say they saw this small fire near their Altadena house at around 6:19 p.m. Tuesday.
Oh. At that time, that when we saw it, it was just at the base of the tower. And within minutes, it had spread.
The Koos racing outside, filming what they saw in those terrifying moments. And look closely, beyond the tree line, that's a transmission tower.
What did it?
I'm not even really as concerned about how the fire started as I am about their inability to contain it. And the reason that is because a fire can start for any number of reasons. But if you're not prepared, which is one of the things that they've been holding Gavin Newsom accountable for, and Karen Bass, the mayor of LA, and all of these different mayors and stuff like that, and these legislative leaders, if they're unable to contain it, then that's a much, much bigger problem than we have on our hands. As a matter of fact, Gavin Newsom recently did an interview, right? And in that interview, he described what the goals were, how they were going to fight the fires, what the mindset was, and then what is going to be the objective going forward. Let's get into the interview specifically.
Governor Gavin Newsom, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Good to be with you.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
6 different wildfires raging right now. Do you have the resources to combat all these fires at this hour?
Yeah, we got 14,000 people working the line right now. We doubled the National Guard. We have 1,680 out there helping on the logistics side. I was just with folks from Mexico, 73 folks will be relieving some of our hand crews. We've got 9 states that are now providing under this EMAC system support. So we've got the resources, but we have more important we have the winds that have changed, and that allows us to be more resourceful with existing resources, particularly the aerial resources.
What's the mission of the National Guard here in Southern California?
Combination of factors. We have the rattlesnake teams that are doing the line and working with the hand crew.
Let me tell you something. Y'all know why I called this stream Hollywood Actors? Do you want to know why I called this stream Hollywood Actors? It wasn't because of the upcoming videos that I'm about to show you guys with Mel Gibson and Dennis Quaid. It's because of Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass. With the extra energy and the voice, and we're on top of things, and we got the rattlesnake team all on top of it. These are the biggest actors. It's not the ones that are losing their homes. It is the Gavin Newsoms. It is the it's the sauce. It's just, we're exhausted, but we're on here. We're on it. I would encourage you guys to really be vigilant. And it's a lot going on, but we're here. We're here, guys. We're here. We're on it. Riddle me this. Riddle me this, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm just observing, honestly. Riddle me this, ladies and gentlemen. I have seen no less than 30 impromptu 1-2 minute, 15-minute, 10-minute, 30-minute interviews of Gavin Newsom over the last 7 days. No cap. I have seen no less than 30 interviews, 30 camera pitches from Gavin Newsom over the last 7 days, more than I ever have before. And y'all not seeing the play. You're not seeing the play. You're not seeing the play because you so focused on criticizing because you guys are conservative. But because you are conservative, you can't see the trees from the fire. You don't see the play. I'll show it to you in a minute. Don't worry about it. Let's get to it.
Crews, we have other logistics packages happening, and we saw our first MAFs, which are these folks that are doing retardant, which are military planes.
Thank you, Connie.
And the guards leading that operation. So it's a combination of all those factors. And of course, fundamentally, 600 plus, just focusing on looting and making sure there's law and order on the streets.
Well, there goes, I may as well acknowledge it. There goes another one of your choppers. How many aircraft?
Look at the scene. It's straight out of a Hollywood movie. Look at the scene. It's out of a Hollywood movie. Do you know the kind of resources you would have to gather to get this level of visibility for any kind of future presidential candidate? Do you know the type of resources and the amount of monies that you'd have to raise to put yourself in position to become president of the United States of America in 2028? Now, some people will say, but Anton, he's not running for president. We're criticizing him. We're holding him accountable. He's doing a bad job. You think so? You think so? So you think that the battle is won in the beginning. It's not. I'm going to show you what the play is. We'll get there.
Do you have deployed right now?
There are as many as the traffic control can handle. Aircraft resources are not an issue. We've got fixed wing up today. And then you saw last night, particularly over the last couple.
We don't even know what fixed wing is. We are C students here. Most of us. That's why it's called average. That means that the majority of us is somewhere in the middle. It's some room nines, it's some exceptions, and then it's the rest of us. All right? It's some regular everyday folk. What the heck is the wingman? What's the rattlesnake crew? You know, they do that to you when they trying to confuse you to make them seem more smart than they really are. And they don't talk to us like C students. They don't talk to us like little children. They say stuff all the time that is not in our best interest. They just be saying stuff because it sound good. They get themselves good camera work. They got the scene in the background of somebody's home burned. Got to make sure you got that good hair gel in there. Make it seem like you roll your sleeves up. We've been in here with the people. We're here, guys. We're here every day. Working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just doing interviews in between the work, though.
Days just battling the nighttime blazes. By the way, technology that didn't exist a few years ago. The state did not have the resource of these Firehawks that allowed night vision, 6 hours, night goggles. These guys laid down the lines in the Palisade, almost 500 million gallons to try to hold the line there on the ridge so it didn't come down into the canyon, the Bel Air area, and parts of Brentwood. So it's just remarkable, the heroism of these folks. It's remarkable, the mutual aid system. I mean, you meet folks from Oregon that are working with folks from Kern County that are working folks overseas that I've never met. And it's hand in glove. It's really inspiring.
In your opinion, is this or will it be the worst natural disaster in the history of the United States?
I think it will be in terms of just the costs associated with it. In terms of the scale and scope, I'll only remind the folks in California, we had the Tubbs Fire, 5,600 houses were lost, and of course Camp Fire, we had 18,000
Shout out to Jerry. I'm gonna read that super chat
housing units lost, and 85 people that lost their lives. Currently, we're getting confirmation from the coroner, so we always have to be careful on the death toll, but it's in the 13 range, and I've got search and rescue teams out. We've got cadaver dogs out, and there's likely to be a lot more.
What is your biggest concern over the course of the next 48 hours?
I think is making sure the life safety focus, the property focus is there, at the same time we're addressing the perimeter issues. The challenge is the winds. We've got these winds coming back this evening, Sunday night. We've got peak winds on Monday. We're going to see 50+ mile-an-hour gusts, subject to change. So now
got these peak winds. They're gusting on the 50-mile-per-hour perimeter. We got cadaver dogs all over. The problem is the wind turbines are spinning out of control, but we're evaluating the velocity, and the winds are coming in from the south, moving up through the north, and it's creating some kind of tornado-like structure that just keeps the fires all in a spin. We're going for it, though.
we're pre-positioning assets.
Pre-positioning.
And we're pre-positioning not just here in the theater, those existing 5+ fires, but now broadening that to a number of other counties and moving farther south with some of those resources in anticipation we could see some flare-ups and new places, new starts.
You're here with us on Meet the Press to announce a new executive order. What is this executive order? What are you hoping to accomplish?
Look, we've got to be thinking 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years ahead. At the same time,
three
we're
and three.
focusing on the immediacy, which is life safety and property. And so that's exactly what we're doing with disaster assistance, making sure people are getting their applications, addressing the issue of
We on a 3-3-3. We on a 3-3-3 plan, and we're 3 years, 3 months, 3 hectares out. We got to get ahead of this thing. We got to anticipate where this thing is going, and we got to be three steps ahead at all times. Okay.
fraud, and that's an issue we've got to address. Price gouging. So executive orders on price gouging, recovery. We want to get inspections, units like this. We want to get our inspection teams out here. They're already starting to get out here. We've come up with some timelines so we can get within the next few weeks all that done so people can get their insurance claims. We can then start the big contracts to remove the debris, to address all the hazmat issues. Same time as I got to button up the canyons here as it relates to potential flooding with a lot of atmospheric rivers. Remember, we're in the middle of winter. This is January. In fact, the day of this fire, not a stone's throw away, as the crow flies, there was snow right up the mountain.
Crazy.
Here, the same day.
Crazy.
As this devastating fire here in Altadena. And so all those things have to happen concurrently. But here's the big thing. I'm worried about issues of rebuilding as it relates to scarcity, as it relates to property taxes, meaning scarcity of resources, materials, personnel. I'm worried about time to getting these projects done. And so we want to fast track by eliminating any CEQA requirements. I've got Coastal Act changes that we're making. I want to make sure when someone rebuilds that they have their old property tax assessments and that they're not increased. So all of that's been done in the executive order we just announced.
CEQA, Governor, and the Coastal Act are both environmental regulations. And if you're going to be suspending those temporarily, are you concerned about problems that may result from the suspension of those environmental regulations and a potential abuse by developers?
Yeah, we're not going to, and within this executive order, we frame those abuses. We basically bookmark that in the context of maintaining the existing footprints. The Coastal Act, they allow just a 10% variant. So we're going to be very mindful of that. California leads the nation.
This guy is so animated. You got to love Gavin, right?
In environmental stewardship, I'm not going to give that up. But one thing I won't give into is delay. Delay is denial for people. Lives traditions.
Word
places
salad is strong with this
torn
one.
apart, torn asunder, families, schools, community centers, churches. You've seen it. The number of schools that have been lost in this community, and we've got to let people know we have their back. We're going to be back. We're going to do it efficiently and effectively. Don't turn your back. Don't walk away because we want you to come back, rebuild, and rebuild with higher quality building standards, more modern standards.
Let me save you some time. Would you like for me to save you some time? I'll save you some time. Let's get to the thick of it, all right? Gavin Newsom then goes on to say that they're going to rebuild, and they got all of these different projects and things that's coming up for 2026, 7, 8, 9, 10, 30, 40, 50, and a 60. You know why? They got major events coming up. Huge, masterful strategies and planning that is in place to ensure that they can still put on, for example, the Olympics that is coming up. Yes, the Olympics is going to be here in less than 4 years. And they're fast tracking things. So before we get into our conspiracy theory bag and we start talking about how, well, you know, they are clearing land so that they can build all of these places and so on and so forth, I don't think that that's the master play for Gavin Newsom personally. We can talk about that with regard to systematically or corporate entities or, you know, who's going to benefit from this and that and so on and so forth. We can get that. We have plenty of time to explore that, and I plan to all week long. But here's the key. Amongst all of the chaos and all of the criticism from people like me and you that then say Gavin Newsom in particular is 100% doing things, they should have had things together. To repair an image, you need an opportunity to do so. You can't repair an image. You can't repair an image without problems. You can't make yourself a hero without having something to solve for. George Bush II had likability issues in his first term, issues where his approval rating was down significantly. And you know what really boosted things up prior to him wind up running for re-election? A war. A war. Towers. Planes. All kind of issues just came up. I'm telling you the truth. I want you to understand things, okay? Think about this for a second. Never had this much visibility in his entire life. Gavin Newsom has never had this much visibility in his entire life. For all of the criticism that he's getting now, he's not worried about that. I believe, and this is just a theory of mine, a C student's theory, I believe that Gavin Newsom, Batman right here, is looking for a long-term accolade in the form of your vote for President of the United States of America if he can fast-track things, rebuild, get things in position to where the Olympics wind up going off without a hitch. They recover, people get their homes back. They then get assistance from the federal government in helping them to rebuild. I believe that Gavin Newsom is planning and putting himself in position to be the hero long term. And that is the platform that he's ultimately going to run on in 2028 to become president of the United States of America. I believe if you are looking at this from a long-term perspective, that Gavin Newsom and company and whomever it is ultimately putting themselves and setting themselves up for long-term success. See, our problem is that we think so short-term. We thinking, oh, he doing wrong, or we don't necessarily care for him. His likability is now. He's not worried about the now. He worried about 4 years from now. He worried about putting himself in position, I believe, 4 years. What you think that his political career is supposed to be over because Kamala Harris possibly is running for governor of California in 2026. He not paying attention to no 2026. He paying attention to 2028. That's the play.
You?
I mean, you're governor of California. You might as well be the mayor of California. We're all in this together. We're all better off. We're all better off. We're all better off. And we're working together to take care of people and to make sure people are supported. We're empathetic. And we're here not just in the immediacy of the crisis, but we're here after the crisis, as opposed to creating a crisis in the middle of this by trying to divide people and play political, take cheap political shots.
Do you have faith in Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass?
I have absolute faith in our community. I have faith in our leaders. I have the faith of our capacity to work together.
President-elect Trump has blamed you for this crisis. He called you incompetent. What's your response?
Well, I called for him to come out, take a look for himself. We want to do it in the spirit of an open hand, not a closed fist. He's the president-elect. I respect the office. We have a president of the United States that within 36 hours provided a major disaster declaration over a text. We had support from the president of the United States, Joe Biden, with 100% reimbursement. All the resources you could hope for or imagine, constant communication. I'd like to extend that to the president-elect. I don't know what he's referring to when he talks about the Delta smelt and reservoirs. The reservoirs are completely full. The state reservoirs here in Southern California. That mis and disinformation, I don't think advantages or aids any of us. Responding to Donald Trump's insults, we would spend another month. I'm very familiar with them. Every elected official that he disagrees with, very familiar with them.
We do know, though, from reporting here locally that one reservoir that serves the Palisades was not full.
And that's exactly what triggered my desire to get the investigation to understand what.
The school of Kamala Harris word salad is strong with this one. The dodging of accountability is strong with this one. Looks very presidential to me.
What's happening with that local reservoir that was not a state system reservoir, which the president-elect was referring to as it relates to the Delta and somehow connecting the Delta smelt to this fire, which is inexcusable because it's inaccurate, also incomprehensible to anyone that understands water policy in the state.
My understanding is that you have put a call into President-elect Trump. Has he called you back?
No, that was months ago. That was after his victory. So I look forward to him again coming out here in the spirit of cooperation.
Forgive me for interrupting you, but you did invite him to come out here. Have you had any response?
No.
Nothing. Multiple times, Mr. Trump has threatened to withhold aid for California wildfires, both as president and now again as president-elect. Are you worried that he might actually do that?
Well, I mean, he's done it in Utah, he's done it in Michigan, they did it in Puerto Rico. He did it to California back before I was even governor in 2018, until he found out folks in Orange County voted for him, and then he decided to give the money. So he's been at this for years and years and years. It transcends states, including, by the way, Georgia. He threatened similarly. So that's his style. And you know, we take it seriously to the extent that in the past, it's
Look
taken
at all
a
this
little bit more
animation.
time. I've been pretty expressive about that in context of someone threatening our first responders in terms of supporting the immediacy of their needs.
That's what you take it as, that President-elect Trump is threatening the first responders here.
Well, I mean, it's what he said. He said, I'm not going to support the firefighting efforts. I'm not going to support the state of California as it relates to its emergency management. He made this pretty clear during the election, unless they do my bidding. And again, these are familiar terms, and they're familiar to a lot of other states, not just my state, and they're familiar to not just me as governor, but the previous governor of California, Governor Brown, that was battling with these same things. So you just work through these things, and I'm just blessed. I mean this. I'm blessed. I have 40 million Americans that happen to live in California, that Joe Biden's president of the United States and did what he did immediately. And to the extent that we can work with the same relationship and that same spirit with Donald Trump, I hope we can.
I'm telling you that this guy is gearing up to run for president of the United States of America. I'm telling you that this guy is putting himself in position to run for president of the United States of America. If not him, who? Hakeem Jeffries, AOC, Kamala Harris again? Okay. Watch what I say.